Peace to the family, peace to my comrades, and it's always smoke to the Pro boxing family that this is a test. We are seeing how the new software is working. I have gone from Restream to OBS Studio, and now I am streaming from StreamYard. I must say, I'm liking this a little better. This is my first time, so let me see. How do I see the comments? Right here, on the right. Nice. Oh man, St. Louis mix in the house. Salute, family. We are in business, y'all. I have a link that I can put in the comment section. So we about to, hey man, we about to have some fun in here. Let me grab my other phone. Let me grab my other phone. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let me get a one in the chat if you can hear me. Salute Eric Jordan 5108 in the house. Let me get a one in the chat if you can hear me. Jose Diaz in the house. I'm doing good, family. How you doing? Oh man, we in business, y'all. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna miss the OBS system just a little bit because I was able to play music in the background, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna figure it out on here. So I think we're gonna go with StreamYard for a while. Yeah, we in business now. Let's see. Everybody can hear me good. Man, the family already coming in. So the question is, who will be the next big boxing superstar once Crawford and Canelo is gone? There should be a second part to that question, and y'all probably know where I'm going. Not only should we be asking who's going to be the next huge superstar, why do they refuse to acknowledge who Devin Haney is? That should be the second part to that question. Why do they not want to acknowledge Devin Haney as probably the next one in line? It's getting strange to me. But Don Vaughn said, "I like Abdullah Mason. He is a great representative for the sport. Great young man." I agree. I can go with that pick. Abdullah Mason is going to be a great champion. He's going to be a great representation. Um, who was he signed with? He signed with Top Rank, correct? So this is my only concern. I feel like Top Rank has a history of getting fighters to a certain level, and then right before they're supposed to get that big fight, that big break, they yank them back. These Black American fighters. We saw them do it with Crawford. We saw them do it with Shakur. They tried to do it with Floyd, and if it was not for Jay Prince stepping in, I don't think we would have seen the career of Floyd Mayweather of what we know it today. But family, look, y'all, I got a new software, and I can't lie, it's a lot better than what I was on. So I'm gonna try something today for the first time. I'm gonna try to uh, drop a link and have one of the brothers call in to see how this thing works. Jose Diaz says it's going to be Devin. We cannot forget Abdullah Mason. Remember, there's shelving, my guy, and the Cruz. Andy Cruz. I think you meant to put Andy Cruz. That is a fact. They love shelving top fighters. But I'm gonna let's see. It says down here you can add people. Copy. Oh, family. Coach figuring it out now. I told y'all if you drop me in the middle of the woods, I'll come out better than I got there. Paste. Uh, huh. Now, I don't know if that's how you do it. Let me see. Because I copied it, I pasted it, or do I need to pin it? Do I need to pin the link? Share your referral link. Let's see. No, new to streaming or looking up level. That's not it, family. I want to add people. Let's see. You can add here. Messenger. Guests can stream. Send this link to your guests. You can have up to 6 people on screen at once. Let me try this one more time. Copied. Now, if I put it in the chat, let's see, put that in the chat, paste it. Now, family, tell me, can you all actually click on that or no? If somebody could click on the link and tell me if it's good in the chat, I would greatly appreciate it. If not, it's all good. I'm figuring it out as we go. I can actually get on my other channel and check it as well. But yeah, family, I don't know. For some reason, it seems they don't want to acknowledge Devin as being next in line. I don't know why. Queen of, oh man, I know who this is. I know who this is. Now let me see if I can do this right. Add to stage, right? Okay, add to
Hey,
Queen.
you
Can you
did it. What's up?
Queen? Queen?
Yeah, I can hear you a little bit.
Let me see. Let me see if I need to turn it up. Can you hear me better now?
Yes, that's much better. What's up? Good
Man,
morning. Happy Sunday.
happy Sunday. Salute, Queen. You see us. Hey, this our first time speaking on my channel. Hey,
Yeah.
we in the building now. How you doing, Queen?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Just slow cooking some stewed chicken for Sunday dinner.
Okay, go ahead. You doing a crock pot?
Yes, yes, sir.
See, they don't know nothing about that crock pot. These folks don't know nothing about the crock pot, Queen. So, so, Queen, let me ask you the question.
What's up?
Who? It's a two-part question. Number one, who do you think is next in line as the great superstar in boxing once Canelo and Crawford are retired? And second part to that question is, why do you feel they are not getting behind Devin Haney as the next huge superstar with his accolades?
Oh, wow, that's a good question because I'm not really like I'm still like learning boxing. MMA is my passion.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, I can ask you an MMA question.
Okay.
What do you think about Dana White trying to get rid of the Muhammad Ali Act? And do you think he is going to be good for the sport or bad for the sport based off of the knowledge that you know he has done in MMA as a businessman?
Oh gosh. I mean, the only thing I can say with Dana White, I respect him in a way because he does give us the the fights that we want to see, and it's really, not too much marinating the fights in MMA because we don't have that many sanctioning bodies. There's always one champion in MMA.
Good point.
But as far as um him being in boxing and everything else, I no, because I feel that he's going to turn it into the UFC, and these some of these fighters in TKO, they're going to be paid like octagon money because you know these fighters in the UFC are not getting paid what they are worth. They're really not. And like I said on Drew's channel, you see why Francis Ngannou he left. The UFC is like a slave contract, and we should have got, Ngannou versus John Jones. That is the biggest fight in MMA, but
Facts.
you know, Dana is not paying these fighters what they are worth. I mean, I feel that if you're not like a Ronda Rousey or Conor McGregor, you're not going to get the money that you deserved.
Facts.
But the with the Muhammad Ali Act, I'm just now learning about that. Like, what is that pertaining to really with the Muhammad Ali Act? I'm kind of slow in that.
Okay, so basically, think of it like this:
Mm-hmm.
the Muhammad Ali Act was legislation passed into law that basically states that all fighters in boxing, they have the legal right. It is their right to know by law what their purse is going to be,
Mm-hmm.
what is in and out of their contracts, what the rules will be under the commission, and if those things are removed, the same way, like you said, Dana White has slave contracts. Basically, boxing was the same way. So when that act was passed, now by law, a fighter doesn't have to take these people to court. A fighter can say, "Hey, look, based off the Muhammad Ali Act and the law, you have to be upfront. You are obligated to tell me what I'm getting paid, what my contract says." So check it. Without the Muhammad Ali Act, let's use Devin Haney as an example. When Devin Haney was trying hard to get that fight with Lomachenko, and everyone was in his way. Tio wasn't trying to fight him. All that crap was going on, that political BS to basically box Devin Haney out. Without the Muhammad Ali Act, they would have been able to do it. Because what they could have did was they could have said, all right, in the contract, we're going to have you fight Cambosis. But if you fight him and you beat him after the rematch, you have to fight 5 other people before you can fight Lomachenko. And they would
Oh,
not,
really?
yeah, they would not have to disclose that in the contract because under the Muhammad Ali Act, it protects those business type of deals. So once they get rid of that, now you knowing what you know about Dana White and you know how he is with the contracts. Once that's out the way, oh, you already know what time it is.
Oh, okay. Now I see. So it's basically going to be like the UFC because I remember there was one fighter. Her name was Leslie Smith, and she
Mhm.
was trying to get a union in the UFC, but it didn't pass because some of these fighters they don't depend on just the UFC. They have other jobs. Like there was this woman named GDR. She was a cop and was fighting on the side in the UFC because they wasn't making the money that they were getting.
Now,
So some of these fighters, they don't just depend on the UFC. They have other jobs on the side as well.
and what was this fighter's name?
The one that wanted to get the union, her name was Leslie Smith,
Leslie
and
Smith.
she was trying so hard to get it, but Dana White wasn't having it. As a matter of fact, he cut her like out of the roster and gave her the
Really?
rest of her purse. Yeah.
Now, see, this is what people need to be listening to. People need to be hearing the knowledge that you know from Dana White in the UFC because I didn't know that. Now, I do know that Randy Couture tried to unionize the UFC in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Right when they passed the Muhammad Ali Act, Randy Couture and there was one other fighter tried to do it, and Dana White blackballed Randy Couture for that. So
Mm-hmm.
so all of these brothers who are, coming to defend Dana, man, you brothers don't know what the hell you're talking about. And anyone who's been following the UFC, like my sister here, you know, Queen Tay, Queen of MMA, you can follow her. She's done videos on this. She's done videos on the things that's going on in MMA. If you all go and study MMA, because I was actually myself, I was a wrestler before I was a boxer.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so I thought that could have been an option when I got out of high school, was trying to go, the MMA route, but I went to the military instead, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I've been following Dana when Dana was trying to buy Pride. And I realized, I said, he's trying to move all the chess pieces off the board and be the only one left so that he can move how he wants to move. And that's exactly what he did. What people have to understand is once these laws and regulations are no longer in the way, you are about to see who this man really is. Now, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen at first because a lot of our people are easily fooled when a lot of fans, we just want to see good fights. So they might put on a few good fights. First year, second year, we might say, hey, y'all, see, Dana ain't so bad. We're getting good fights. But what we have to look at is at what expense, at what cost, what is going to be the fighters' options when they're signing these contracts after these guys take over. what incentive are they going to have to even do this at a certain point if they're signing their life away with these slave contracts? And people say, "Oh, that's not true." Da da da. Da. Now, the Queen was just talking about Ngannou. Did Ngannou not put on great fights in the UFC? Sure, he did. He put on great fights. He knocked people out, all that good stuff. But when it got to the fight he really wanted, and he wanted fair and equal treatment, what did Dana White do? Queen, tell him what happened.
Well, from my knowledge, when he got the belt from I believe, who did he beat? Stipe Minoche, if I'm not mistaken. He was crowned the heavyweight, UFC champion, and I think his purse was maybe like 60,000 just for that. And they was trying to negotiate him and John Jones for that fight. And listen, John Jones, he is definitely a draw. He has a big fan base, and Francis, he has a fan base too. Definitely has a fan base now since he fought Tyson Fury, and he's in the PFL. But we all know that that fight is worth a lot of money, and everybody's going to tune into that, especially it's John Jones. And that fight should be well over $1 million, if it ain't $2 million. And whatever Dana was offering, they wasn't going for it.
Facts.
And I keep telling people it's not because they are afraid of each other, it's the money.
Thank you.
Like, that fight is worth millions. I don't care what nobody's saying. Ngannou versus Jones is worth millions. And whatever they negotiated, it didn't work. And Francis was not happy. And with the PFL, see, what people don't understand is that when you go to the PFL, you can have as many sponsorships as you want,
Yep.
and you can box if you want to. You
Mm-hmm.
can, kickbox. You can do BJJ, Muay Thai, anything you want to do outside of the PFL. See, in the UFC, they don't have sponsorships, and if you want to box, you got to be out of your UFC contract in order to do
Mm.
that. Dana does not cross promote as well as either. He does not. I know a lot of people are saying, well, he did that with Conor McGregor and Mayweather, but I mean, it's like I said, if you're not a caliber of a, Ronda Rousey or Conor McGregor, you can forget it.
Now, I just want to
You can forget it.
you put that so well put. I hope people can see the picture better of what's going on. Family, think about that for a second. Ngannou versus John Jones would have been, without the shadow of a doubt, the biggest, highest earning heavyweight match in UFC history. And because that man just didn't want to be on a fair playing field, he kept it from happening. This is what people need to wake up and see. Now, check this out. On top of that, when John Jones said it was one thing that John Jones wanted to do after his last fight, it was one more thing. And Dana said no. Dana said, because you won't go fight, what's his name? Is it Aspinall? That's the guy's name?
Yeah, Tom Espinal. Yeah.
Right. So when John was like, "Nah, I want to fight this guy," and Dana was basically like, "Well, if you don't want to do what I told you to do, it's not happening." Now imagine that attitude in the sport of boxing. Let me give a shout out to Patrice X in the house, my brother. Do you see us? I got the microphone working. I'm on here with Queen Tay Tay. I'm figuring out, brother. Shout out to my brother Patrice X. Shout out to I Am Trill Will. The brother don't play. He's in the house. Jose Diaz said that Yo Romero told him the exact same thing. And let me just point out something real quick. When you talk about the PFL, shout out to the GOAT, Clarissa Shields, because I got to tell you, if Clarissa Shields, and y'all know what I'm saying, if Clarissa Shields looked like Ronda Rousey, she would be a billionaire by now. We're talking about a 3-time undisputed champion in the sport of boxing, goes over to mixed martial arts, handles business, comes back over to the sport of boxing, and still reign supreme. You can't tell me that that woman wouldn't be a billionaire by now. But like Queen Tay is pointing out, sure, Dana White did it with Conor McGregor. Sure, he's done, but Conor McGregor has been able to do a few things that no other fighter in the UFC could do. Dana does have his favorites. We have to acknowledge that. But going back to Patrice X said the StreamYard cooking got the professional prod podcast going. Yes, broadcast going. So when people from the MMA world they come over like Queen Tay is telling us, hey, this is what was done the last 10, 15, 20 years in the UFC. And I was just telling some guys the other day, they were like, well, coach, a, a lot of the superstars aren't going to go over to this thing that Dana is trying to do. Queen Tay can tell you all firsthand, Dana White does not, he's not in the business of grabbing a full roster of already made superstars. Queen Tay, if you don't mind, could you tell the people the business acumen of Dana White when it comes to building superstars in his own league, whether you speak of UFC, knuckle up, bare knuckle boxing, etc.?
Well, one thing I could, like I said, the UFC is $1 billion corporation, and like if you are a top 10 fighter, you are gonna make money there. But see with Dana, like you notice that these fighters they start promoting themselves because, like I said, there's really no sponsorship over there at the UFC, and you can't, Dana's not gonna cross promote. I see like a lot of people like they try to, promote themselves and try to make a name for themselves, like, when they go to a UFC event or they try to be on one of these talk shows, they to build up their brand because obviously Dana is really not going to do it for you. He'll do it for some fighters, but it's really like if you like are a top 10 fighter there, you have to really build a name for yourself. And what's good with Dana, like I said, he'll make the fights that we want to see. Like we don't have to wait as long like how boxing, how they say they have to have the fight marinate and everything. But like if there's a good fight and he knows that it's going to sell, he's going to do it. And if you duck, like if there's a fight that he tells you to do and you duck, chances are you're going to be on the shelf for 6 months, especially if you're a champion. He will strip you of your belt and you will be on the shelf for about 6 months.
That's a fact. That
So
that
ducking, no, there's no ducking in MMA.
that is a fact. There is no ducking, and if you do and you stop whatever plan Dana got going on, there will be a price to pay. All right. Now, I am curious to see how Dana White and the business relationship of a Bill Haney is going to play out in the sport of boxing. It's either going to be really good or non-existent at all. It's not going to be the in between. What I do know is, you know, Bill Haney, Devin Haney, they're chasing greatness. They want to fight the best. What I know about Dana White is Dana White wants competitive fights at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that being said, they're either going to get along very well, or because Bill and Devin are so independent, they might clash. I don't know. I'm leaning towards they're going to be able to get good business done. But I'm going to tell you the guys that are really going to feel Dana White's pressure, pause, is fighters like Tiafimo. Um, if Shakur is still moving business wise, how he has been the past few years, he might feel that pain. Dana White isn't going to put up with any of that shit. I just got to keep it real. That all this diva crap that's been going on in the sport of boxing, if you trying to get some of that turkey money or some of that Dana White money when it gets the where it needs to be, I just don't believe he's gonna put up with it. But anybody can call in. I put the link in. I just want to speak about who is going to be the next superstar, and is boxing, the sport of boxing, going to drown itself? And this is what I mean. When we talk about the UFC, when we talk about MMA, some of us are old enough to remember the Ultimate Fighter. Some of us are old enough to remember, the way they promoted themselves in the beginning when Dana was trying to make this $1 billion industry. I mean, I remember Rampage and Rashad Evans being coaches on the Ultimate Fighter. And I mean, tuning into that every time it came on. And we weren't thinking in our minds that, man, this is going to be $1 billion industry one day. But a lot of us had not felt that type of energy since we were kids watching wrestling during the Attitude Era. Because it's like, man, these fools going at it. And these are real fighters. Now, when I say drop the ball, imagine a show called The Ultimate Boxer, and you have Floyd Mayweather as a coach and Oscar De La Hoya as a coach. Team De La Hoya versus Team Mayweather. Imagine what that would have done for the sport of boxing leading to this period today. But the business model that a lot of these lazy sanctioning bodies have done, and these promoters as well, as a promoter, you don't just promote your fighter when it's time for them to fight. That's one of the biggest differences the UFC has over boxing. It don't matter what's going on. The UFC is promoting their brand almost year round. If it ain't the UFC, they're promoting what? Bare knuckle boxing. If they're not promoting that, they're promoting that. What's the slap thing called, Queen?
Oh my God, not that slap thing. The
I
slap, power slap. Oh
power
no.
power slap. Like they
Oh
have,
God.
you see what I'm saying? They have all of these crazy things that make you feel how we felt when we was kids watching
I
wrestling.
can't get into that.
But you know what? Here's the thing.
Power slap.
You have all of these fans from different markets who now are sitting there, and while they're watching, a commercial comes on about an up and coming fighter. So now this person who's watching Power Slap, who might not watch bare knuckle boxing, or the person that's watching bare knuckle boxing that might not watch Power Slap, they're seeing their fighters promoted on the commercials. They're seeing their fighters sitting in the crowd. That they're doing the interviews. Imagine if the sport of boxing and the promoters in the sport of boxing actually promote it the way they're supposed to. Now, let's really get into it. What is the problem with Bill and Devin Haney versus the machine in the sport of boxing? How come we have champions who are not being pushed the way they should be? We have guys like Devin Haney, David Benavidez, M. Billy, even Usyk, who they're not saying anything about. We ain't heard nothing about Usyk since the last time he fought. Boxing, as we know it, these so-called promoters are dropping the ball. What people don't realize is you can say what you want to say about Bill Haney. Oh man, my brother Patrice X is in the building. Let me add him to the stage, y'all. I'm I'm getting it together. Patrice, brother, my brother.
Coach,
Oh man, my brother. Hey, we done made it to the promised land, brother. Do you see me?
yeah, man, I see the microphone. We got StreamYard cooking, dog. I got a big smile on my face, man. That's hilarious.
Hey man, what you think about what we cooking on, brother?
Yeah, man, just dropping in terms of the biggest star possibly, I think it would have to be someone like a Devin Haney because unfortunately in boxing, especially as a black fighter, sometimes to be that megastar, they gotta view you as the villain.
Mm.
Devin, even though he hadn't done nothing to be that, he's going to get viewed as the villain. So he has a huge opportunity after this Norman fight. If he can get past Norman, which is tough, if he can then beat, because I think Pacquiao's going to beat Rolly. If he can then get Pacquiao on his resume too, and that's Lomachenko on his resume, Pacquiao on his resume, that's going to generate a lot of hatred towards him, even more, I would think. And so I think even though Dev doesn't have he doesn't really promote himself with his talking, so to speak, but Bill does. So he'll have the resume and he'll have Bill as his mouthpiece, and a lot of people are going to hate it, but a lot of people are going to buy the fights because of that.
That's a good point, and they want to see him lose. Do you think that Bill and Dale should embrace the villain role to get to superstardom, or should they just keep going the route they're going?
Yeah, man, it's hard to watch that because Devin is such a nice kid, but I think if they embrace it, let Bill embrace it. I think Bill is built for that. I think he welcomes that type of energy. If Dev wants to stay and keep being who he is, more reserved, then that works for them. But if someone does embrace it, I think Bill can handle that a little bit better.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I want to give a shout out to Queen Tay Tay who came up here and cooked. I see she needed to head out, but salute to the Queen of MMA. You all make sure you check her channel out if you are into the UFC mixed martial arts business. I want to say, it is very salute Queen. I see you. I just want to say it's very disturbing that our fighters, especially a great fighter like Devin Haney. They're trying to do the same thing with Clarissa Shields. They're trying to make her this villain. And it took Terrence Crawford to come out and defend her because they were upset the way the way she corrects people when they forget that she is the first boxer to reach a three-time undisputed in the four belt era. And when she corrects them, they try to drag her. I don't like it. I don't like the disrespect she gets, but you're right. I really want, and Devin's his own man. Devin, he didn't grow up the same way Bill grew up.
Right.
Dev didn't grow up the way a lot of us grew up. But man, I'm telling y'all, once Dev get that mean streak in him, and he look up and say, you know what? Y'all trying me now. I'm
Mm,
tired of this shit. I think it's gonna unleash a side of him that's going to terrify the boxing world because the man still hasn't reached grown man strength,
right.
which is also terrifying because once he get that grown man strength, that grown man attitude, which I know he's a man, but there's a I say it like this: the way I thought at 30 was different from the way I thought at 25. If
Mm,
y'all get what I'm saying, he has to understand that. Hey, brother, we know you don't want to be the villain. And a lot of our fighters suffer from this. They suffer from being called the villain. They suffer
right.
from people not liking them for no reason. But brothers, you just need to embrace it. All the brothers that came before you had to embrace it. Even when they were
Hmm.
being great, they were always, no matter what they did, they were always told, well, now you need to be this guy. Now you need, I mean, they did it to Roy Jones. They did it to Floyd. I mean, all of our top fighters. They did it to Sweet Pea. They did it to Sugar Ray. They did it to Marvin Hagler. It's what come with it, y'all. You know, it's what comes with the responsibility of you being a black champion in America, representing your people. They're going to try to point you out to be a villain no matter what, and there are people who are going to see you as a threat no matter what. Now,
Mm,
I feel that somebody got to bend the knee. Now, and this is what I mean. In the sport of boxing, we are witnessing a hostile takeover. This is going to go down in boxing history, what we're witnessing. Now, they either have to bend the knee to Turkey and Dana, these sanctioned bodies, or they're going to have to bend the knee to the independent new father and son duo, whether they like it or not. Because Abdullah Mason and his family, the Haneys, uh, uh,
that's
um,
right.
Kid Austin and his father. You got the Normans family. I'm sorry to tell you, but it's looking like these father and son duos are a problem. And when they come in, and that champion has his father right there pushing him, and he is protecting him from you blood suckers of the poor in the sport of boxing, they don't like that family. But listen, You all either have to bend the knee to this side, or you got to bend the knee to Turkey and Dana. Either way, the sanctioning bodies are feeling the walls closing in. And if they're not careful, hey, they ain't gonna have nothing left. St. Louis Mick said, I think a big part of it too is Dev was losing a lot of strength, muscle, making the lower weights for the fights he wanted. Think about the difference we saw between 35 to 40. Dev will be at a monster at 147. I'm trying to tell y'all. Jose Diaz said the only fighter that gave King Kong Ortiz wood for my country was Deontay Wilder. They were shelving King Kong. That is the irrefutable truth. Whether people, and some of my UK brothers get mad at this, the promoters in the UK did not want any of their heavyweights to be in the same stadium as King Kong Ortiz. That is the irrefutable truth. Deontay Wilder had to handle Anthony Joshua's work. I know they're not gonna like that, but hey, wait till I get a soundboard. We're gonna be popping. St. Louis Mick said, Bozy. Oh man, how I forget? What am I doing? Of course, the Ennis duo, Bozy and Boots Ennis. They hate the black father-son duo. Exactly. Now I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna let you go in, Patrice X. I have to say, I do not like the way Boots is being handled. I don't like the decisions that it looks like they're saying Boots is making, when I really feel like it is a puppet master devil behind him who is really making these bad decisions, where people are saying, bad business deals are being done here. Bad business moves. For Norman Jr., Devin Haney, not Norman Jr. Yeah, Norman Jr., Devin Haney. Who else he was supposed to fight? Terrence Crawford. All these guys are saying, the miscommunication is never directly between Boots and the fighter, but it's always when it's like my team talking to your team. And we have heard this a few times when it comes to Eddie, who was supposed to be managing black fighters. He don't know what the hell he doing. I have to say that. St. Louis said the UK wanted zero smoke with Ortiz. Eddie signed Ortiz just to keep him away and shelve him. Patrice X, brother, how do you feel about these fighters being signed just to be shelved and kept away from the fighters they're really trying to protect?
Yeah, I mean that's a strategy. We've seen that even in things like hip hop and music, where
Mm.
artists get signed just to get shelved. I believe DMX had a big problem with that. He felt like that happened with him at Def Jam because he was at the top at that point. One thing I think that we need to understand too, I touched on 78's panel, it might have been last week, is we know, like you said, somebody's going to have to bend the knee. And here's the thing, just history and even recent history with Shador and his father, they don't
Woo,
like bending the knee. So
woo. Talk.
my thing is this. We have to, my point on 78's panel is we have to start being preventive, knowing that a play is about to be ran on us. When anytime we start to be independent, we know they're going to be talking with each other in the back rooms, trying to strategize and plot against this. So now that we know that because of history, and like I said, Shador and his father, what would you, coach, recommend that Bill and Boots and his father, Kid Austin and Abdullah Mason, what are some of the tactics that you would recommend them to kind of have in their back pocket as they go into some of these negotiations? Because they know that these guys, especially a dude like Dana White, a good old boy like Dana White, they are going to be plotting against them. So what strategies would you have for them?
Oh, my brother, I'm glad you asked that. So brothers, this is what I want you all to remember. When you all, you go by the golf course, you go by these rich, fancy restaurants, and you see these businessmen from the good old boy club in suits or in a nice golf clothes, and they doing their thing and they gambling. A lot of times, guess who they're talking about? They're
Mm,
talking about you. They're talking about how they are going to pull resources from the talent of you and I. What we have to start doing is the same way they sit around and have these meetings, we need to sit around and have these meetings. when we are divided and you have Norman Sr. over here, Bill Haney over here, Bozy Ennis over here. Listen, we can be competitive, but you all need to be on the same damn page. You all need to sit down and be talking about, hey, the same way they sit around and talk about, well, I offered them this much. Well, shit, I offered them this much. You all need to sit down and have the same conversation. Hey, bro, what's Bob saying? Hey, this is what Eddie said. Hey, this is what Dana talking about. Hey, this is what Turkey talking about. Because you better damn believe they're having them same conversations about you. You don't think,
Facts.
think about it. How many L's have our top fighters taken in America? Now, look at the businessmen who are calling the shots. They not taking no L's. Even when a fighter loses, they have curtailed things to a point where, okay, my fighter might lose today, but I already got 5 more I'm about to run the same play on. And people don't get mad at me what I'm about to say, but check this out. It seems to me that they are trying to turn Boots into a Demetrius Andrade. It seems the same moves how they were doing him. It seems they're trying to do that with Boots as well. Here's my question: Who is we got Chris Eubank, right, and then we have Conor Benn. Who is Conor Benn signed to? Isn't Conor Benn signed to Matchroom?
Believe so, yeah.
So if Eddie really wanted to get Boots some exposure, could he
Mm,
not have said, you know what, forget this guy that nobody knows you're about to fight. How about this? We are about to have the largest fight in the UK between the rematch between Chris Eubank Jr. Y'all follow me now? Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn. So, Boots, this is what we're going to do because I don't know shit about America. This is what Eddie should be saying. I don't really know shit about America, and you're not being promoted the way you should. But you know where you can get some money? You know where you can get some pounds? After the fight, this is what we're going to do. Instead of you taking your ass over to helping Canelo, we're going to start a storyline right here, right now. I'm going to send you over to Chris Eubank Jr.'s camp. I want you to post pictures of you helping him get ready for Conor Benn. So check it. This is what happens. Whether Conor Benn beats Chris Eubank or not, we already have a storyline to push you in versus somebody that's already on the side of my street. Boots Ennis versus Conor Benn. How much bigger would that be for Boots right now than this shit he's about to do next week?
right.
That's what a promoter should be doing. That is how he should be working, not sitting up here doing interviews complaining about talking about Eddie, sitting up here talking about Terrence Crawford and what Terrence Crawford doing and not doing. Terrence Crawford just went up really 3 weight classes and beat Canelo Alvarez, the fighting pride of Guadalajara, Mexico, their champion. So I don't want to hear nothing else about what Terrence is doing and not doing. Eddie need to keep Terrence's name out of his mouth at this point. You need to do your job. I don't like the way they're handling Boots. I don't like it. I don't like how they take our top fighters and shelve them. Freedom's March is in the building. Salute, family. I don't like it, family. Let me put the link back in the chat just in case anybody else wants to call in. But this is what should be happening. Patrice X asked the question, what should the black fathers in the sport of boxing be doing? They should be having these conversations. They should not be warring with each other. There's nothing wrong with my son going against your son. The difference is I still want to see your son be successful in the sport of boxing. The difference is I'm not trying to plot against your son the way Wilder was plotted against, the way Devin Haney was plotted against. And can't nobody sit up here and tell me that they didn't know the crap that Ryan Garcia was about to pull on Dev. They didn't see it coming. That little slap on the wrist, that's to let you know, to only get suspended for a year, come back on the main card as the main attraction. Hey, man, that's letting us know, man, we got to give you a little slap on the wrist because the public knows, but it's not that bad. And then he's on the Ring Magazine YouTube channel as a commentator for the biggest fight in the sport of boxing in the last 10 years. So what should the men do? After the fight, Brian Norman Sr., Bill Haney should sit down together no matter what, because this is what's going to happen, y'all. No matter who loses, boxing, the mainstream elites in the sport of boxing, y'all already know they're going to turn on whoever loses. If Norman Jr. loses, all this praise they've been giving him, that's going to be out the window. They're going to start calling him sorry. They're going to try to put him back down to the bottom of the list. And God forbid if Devin Haney loses to Brian Norman Jr., hey, family, y'all already know what time it is. They're going to try to bury him in the mud. So our strength is in numbers. Y'all see how Boots Ennis is getting handled. Boots, imagine, family, just imagine this for a second. Boots Ennis, Shakur Stevenson, Keyshawn Davis, all signed to Bill Haney and Devin Haney's promotion. Let's say not even them. Let's just say they're independent, but they use them as a they use Bill Haney as someone who comes in, sits down, and looks at the contract, looks at what did Andre Ward and Terrence Crawford just say on the interview. They just said themselves that Bill Haney is probably the greatest matchmaker in the business right now. So why do you all keep running to Eddie, who don't know what the hell he's doing when it comes to American fighters? Stick together. That's what you should be doing. I want to give you all this book that I'm reading called The Power of Discipline. And I was listening to Terrence Crawford while he was giving praise to Bill Haney. And I realized that a lot of our fighters, they got to get that mindset like Terrence. Not so much, because I disagree with him with some of the culture things, but the discipline where he says, you know what, family, I already know the odds is against me. I already know, like Ali said, I know y'all got him picked. I know that's your man, but your man's going down. It don't matter if you don't believe me or if you all are against me. All I need is me and God. That's what Ali said. All I need is me and my belief in Allah, and I'm good. Our fighters are going to have to get that mindset, and they're going to have to stop warring with each other, because while you are gang banging against each other in the sport of boxing, the fan base as well, those who want to take this whole ship over are having conversations about you and I, are having conversations about what they're going to do with your black bodies. So that's what I believe these father-son duos should do. And listen, if you don't want to be friends with everybody, that's fine. But if you're not going to be friends with everybody, don't have all this static for your own and then be in Robert Garcia's face smiling. Be in Max Kellerman's face smiling. Going on these British platforms and allowing them to disrespect you. Like Abdullah Mason says, I love how they family said, we ain't got no friends in the sport of boxing. Ain't nothing wrong with being like that. But y'all have to understand who the enemy is. Because instead of them looking at a fighter who is already great in the sport of boxing, they're asking y'all, who's going to be the next great superstar? And you got Devin Haney sitting right there. I'm telling y'all, I've never seen this in a sport before, but boxing. But I put the link in the chat again. Patrice X, I appreciate you coming up, brother, because you have been rocking with me since I've been buying this equipment, trying to get the software right. I finally got something that works with my laptop. We got the microphone, headset, man, the everything's working good. Webcam. So, hey, man, I got to give a shout out to Patrice X for helping a brother out. Seriously.
Yeah, man. Again, it's a beautiful thing, Coach. I listened to you on 78's panel probably months ago, way before you ever got this channel. And then people kept telling you, hey, man, you got to get on this. You got to get on this. And so you took it serious. You got the mic, you got the camera, you got everything working. And again, we're here to support you. Once you get monetized, you're only going to go up from there, too. We'll be sure to make sure to show love to you as well.
Man, shout out to you. We all we got. And I just want people to know, man, you don't have to compromise. You can stand on truth, and enough people, they hear that truth enough, They're gonna push you to push that truth because we need it. There are enough brothers already compromising to get a check. Some people, they start off as a truth teller, and once they do get monetized, like my brother was saying, they chase the money, and they become disgusting. Uh, they become tools for white supremacy. They become tools for the enemy of all of us. They love division, and if they could hang a brother for $1, they would do it. But I guarantee y'all, and I promise y'all, that will never be me. Um, I'm gonna keep speaking this truth, but I do want us to look at what's about to happen, because Terrence Crawford's 38. Terrence gonna be gone in a few years, y'all. Canelo, I gotta keep it real. After seeing that 11th round, I do believe Canelo's on his way out. Just to look in his face, like, you know what, man, I'm rich. I ain't got to do this no more. Like, man, I got this brother hitting on me. I'm out the door. So we got to see what's about to happen. And the brothers who are calling into these channels, after all we just been through the last 2 years, and Terrence Crawford to come out on top, to hear these brothers continuously put people from outside of their tribe above their own is disgusting. But I'm going to keep preaching the truth. I'm going to keep representing our family. Monday, I'm going to be doing a live workout at 8 a.m. I'm going to post it later on today. I'm pretty sure a lot of the truth tellers are going to go live today. I was watching my brother Freedom's march this morning. Let me tell y'all, if you want to get into some knowledge into politics and what's going on into the world, you got to check out my brother Freedom's march. He know when I'm in the building, because any disrespect, I'm sniping everybody in the chat. So he know what coach in there, because I'm going back, and let me tell y'all how you can have your family back. So I remember the first time I went to Freedom's March channel, and he said, "Coach, don't worry about tiring them out. You're gonna be here all day." Well, I make time. So when I get in there, whether I gotta pull the car over, whether I gotta sit down in the gym, I sit down. And I know I'm about to give an hour to my brother just sniping folks. Get out of here, devil. Get out of here. So, hey, we gotta support each other like that. Shout out to Shaquilla Fields, Cameron Fields, the Queen Sugar Free Mars, the Queen Tay, Queen of MMA. They did the same thing for me the first time I went live. And listen, y'all, the first time I went live, this is how I know people are watching us on other channels. So the first time I went live, I only had like 55 people, 55 subscribers. The trolls that came through was on a level that I have never seen before. So I'm like, well, how these people, like my analytics isn't even big enough. So a few weeks went by, y'all. Check this out. I started putting on my devices all on different channels at the same time. So let's say, Freedom's March might be live. Sugar Free Mars might be live, 78 might be live, Drew might be live. I got all of them on at the same time. I started realizing, y'all, that some of these trolls and bots are going from channel to channel. They'll be on Freedom's March, get booted, then they'll hop to Drew's, they'll hop to 78s, they'll hop to Sugar Frees, and I'm like, now these are either bots or these are trolls who are watching us push this truth. And the enemy is so wicked, and the enemy can be white, black, brown, or yellow. It is a mindset that we're dealing with at this point. And the mindset is, when anytime people are speaking on unity, anytime people are speaking on coming together or standing up, there's an element, like the book says, we war not against flesh and blood, but against principalities of darkness and spiritual wickedness in high places. When my brother Freedom's March is speaking on coming together and being self-sufficient, you have the enemy come. When Drew Titan is talking about, hey, we need to get on code for a certain fighter, the enemy comes. When Sugar Free Mars is speaking her truth, the enemy comes. whether the enemy has a white face or a black face, or the enemy comes and asks, like, oh, I'm your brother, or peace, brother, peace, sister. We need to understand that everybody that say peace, brother, peace, sister, ain't a brother. Everybody that says peace, king, peace, queen, ain't a brother. Understand that, or a sister. Some of them have motives. Some of them are like car salesmen. They know what to say at the right time. And then when they get a channel and when they get monetized, they stop talking to us completely, number one. And then they try to appease a racist element, a spineless element, a lazy element. And what I started to realize is there are people who are offended that we're still fighting. There are people who are offended that hold on. Eric Jordan said, Coach Hudson, do you have a Cash App? I believe I do. Give me 1 second. Let me see what my tag is. Because I can feel that I feel the spirit. I feel I'm about to go in for a second. So let me put this in the chat, because then I'm gonna stop looking at the chat for a second so I can get this out, because I get distracted easily. So you're right. I actually need to start posting it, pinning it, just in case somebody wants to tip to the United Negro Hudson Fund. Let me see. Because it's all appreciated. That just give me a little bit of money to go back to Micro Center. Because Patrice X knows we went through some equipment over these past few weeks.
Hey, we got to figure it out though. And by the way, I'm not holding somebody's spot. If somebody wanted to come on, I'm not taking. Oh, okay.
No, I
just wanted to make sure.
No, I got up to 6 people I can have on. Matter of fact, let me drop the link again, because I can have up to 6 people on this thing. So, and then when I upgrade, I can have even more than that, I believe, once you upgrade. So I got to give a shout out to StreamYard. I've done Restream. I've done the OBS Studio. This one right here, I have to say, bottom line, is the best one, because I'm able to actually test the microphone. Damn it. Mm-hmm. I'm actually to test the microphone and the camera before I go live. So got to give a shout out to that. But let me say this. There are people who are tired of us fighting. Those of us, and let me tell you, y'all, there are people who are offended that you haven't given up. There are people who are offended that you keep fighting and you keep inspiring, because they have given up on life. And social media has made it easy to be compromising. It has been easy to be weak and just give up. So we can be cooking. And like I told a brother the other day, I told him straight up, listen, don't get my love for my people confused as weakness. Because just because we're trying to build, you're not just going to tell me what I can and cannot talk about to my people. If the way Coach Hudson is speaking is a little too strong for you, I'm sorry. I don't know how to talk soft to people. Just like, my brother Freedom's March, he can tell you, us that was in the military for a little bit and grew up a certain way, we don't know how to talk soft to other men. So when we're talking about serious matters, if something I say, strikes a nerve, just know that Coach ain't talking directly to you, unless you are someone that's practicing the cowardice that I'm speaking of. Unless you are someone who holds the attributes that I'm speaking against. But if that ain't you, don't put that shoe on if you don't fit that shoe. But if you do fit it, don't get mad at me. Go look in the mirror and fix yourself. You shouldn't be watching the sport of boxing if you're one of those people that gets knocked down and you want to stay down. Because the sport of boxing is about getting knocked down and getting up. And more importantly, it's about hitting and not getting hit. Now imagine when enough of us in life learn how to hit and not get hit. Life don't get easier. You just got to get better at doing life. Let me say it again. Life don't get easier. You get better at doing life. So when you come over here, you're going to hear some boxing. We're going to talk some boxing talk, but we're also going to talk some things that should inspire you, motivate you, or get you hellified mad that you playing around with your life. You see, because men, one thing about us, hey, man, and shout out to my sisters, because what I realize is when Queen Tay who called in today. When Sugar Free Mars comes in, when Shaquilla Fields, Cameron Fields, when they come in, when we're cooking as brothers, do you know I've never seen one of those sisters rebuttal what we're talking about? I have never seen one of those sisters step out of line and say, no, you brothers don't need to unify on that. They with us. They're with the brothers who's trying to unify. But it's always one of these contrarian individuals that want to knock us off our straight path. But let me tell you this, and I'm going to land my plane here because I know people got to go. But let me say this to y'all. I believe, and this is for those who are on the spiritual tip. If you are not, just listen. You might, learn something in what I'm about to say. If God made us in his image, that isn't speaking about just a physical attribute. The attributes of God is that he has a kingdom. And if we are in the image of God, every man in this chat, every man that hears my voice, I want you to know that there is a kingdom that you are supposed to build for yourself. But in any kingdom, you have to have laws. You have to have regulations. You have to have things in place where people just can't play with you. Okay? Frida's March said, me and BFTB, another vet, had an impassioned discussion the other day, and we were not soft towards each other at all, but it was all love at the end of the day. See, family, but some people don't know how to communicate like that. And I can understand if you can't communicate like that, I'm not the best person you need to speak to. But if God has a kingdom that he builds, you need to understand your worth as a man. And you need to understand that as a man, once you are providing, once you can lead somebody, once you know who you are as a man, you don't let just anybody in your kingdom. You don't let there not be balances and laws that you abide by for yourself to keep your kingdom going. This is what we have to understand as men who are kings, men who are made in the image of God. If you hear something, because listen, I don't have time to be arguing with people. See, if I'm spending time doing this, I'm going to give you some information, whether it's about fitness or boxing, like the page say, and then we're going to talk about some life lessons real quick that you can use to go forward in life. This is not for me to appease to you and tell you that your shit don't stink. If you ain't did nothing all day, you're wasting your life. If you tricking off on these young girls, you're wasting your life. You don't know your worth. A woman should have to be able to bring something to your kingdom for her to even be allowed in it. Because a queen is supposed to have the king's back. The queen can walk beside the king and the king not look like an idiot. So when I speak to you, don't ever think, man, coach is attacking me. Sometimes I'm talking about myself too. You know, and sometimes we have to step away and not insert ourselves when two brothers are having a passionate discussion. Me and one of my brothers from Africa were having a passionate discussion on Drew Titan's channel the other day. Now, at first, I thought it was going to be a misunderstanding. I ain't going to lie to you, because I thought he was one of those brothers who feels that he's better, who I have ran into before on TikTok and have talked about our culture, etc. But once I understood his point after about 30 minutes of breaking stuff down, and he understood my point, we were good. So after my brother and I, because that's still my African brother, my South African brother, to be specific and exact, because I know some contrarians will come and say, well, Africa's a continent, and miss the whole message that I'm saying. Anyway, when we get to the point, somebody comes into the chat and says, well, you were trying to one-up him. Wait a second. Didn't you see that my brother and I already solved this? Why are you running your damn mouth? Didn't you see that me and my brother already solved our issue? Why are you running your damn mouth? As a man at that, Why are you getting in other men's business and we already solved our issue? Because social media has made it safe. See, when I was a kid on the west side of Chicago in a place called Shine King, watching my grandfather get his shoes shined, I know that if a man butted in two men's business and they handling conflict, some problems might come your way. Physical ones. But see, social media has made it normal for people who don't really understand how men operate. Men that might have been under their aunties their whole life, that ain't been around no men. But that might be a topic for another day. But I want to give a shout out to Queen of MMA, Tay Tay, who called in to rock with your brother. Got to give a shout out to Patrice X, who been with me from day one. Got to give a shout out to everyone that came in. Freedom's
Hey,
March. Go ahead, Patrice
hey,
X.
coach, real quick, just real quick. If I could give 30 seconds before I go, because you were cooking and
Nah,
everything
yeah,
you
yeah.
said was facts. And with Prosper, I think the guy's name was Prosper. It might have been on 78's channel. Um, or maybe it was Drew's as well. But I know we had somebody on 78's channel on his panel who we were discussing. And I told that dude at the end of the conversation, I said, no matter what we disagree on, we could be going at each other or whatever. If this was happening in real life and we're having a disagreement, if some racist white dude walked by and said something disrespectful to you, I don't care what our disagreement was. Now we got a bigger mission at hand. So that brings me to my point, which is you can have, when you're talking about boxing earlier, all the fathers, yes, your sons are going to be competing against each other. You can have competition and unity at the same time. Those things can coexist. Look at Ali. Look at Ali and Frazier. They were competitive, but when Ali was going through the nonsense with the draft, who was there to get his back? Frazier. Even though they were competitors, they realized what the bigger mission was. And then lastly, what you're talking about with the fathers, understand, I wish my people would understand our leverage more. Canelo's out the door soon. Crawford's out the door soon. They need you, Devin Haney. They need you, Abdullah Mason, Shakur. Without you, the sport will crumble. So understand your power when you go in to the negotiation rooms. That's one thing. I love what Bill does with that. That's one thing I wish he would start to kind of put his foot down a little bit more in the negotiation rooms. I think he gives up a little bit too much sometimes in terms of putting Dev at a disadvantage, just a little bit, in my opinion. But understand your leverage, understand you can have unity and competition at the same time, and understand, like you were talking about, coach, the females are watching us. They're watching how we come home and act towards them. And then they watch us when if you out in front of some white dude and you acting totally different, a smile on your face, acting docile, what do you think she's going to think about you?
Go ahead,
So just
brother.
just understand that they are watching, not just the kids, but the excuse me, but the women are watching as well. Continue to have unity through competition, and then lastly, understand your leverage.
Thank you, brother. Hey, man, I was about to, y'all know I was about to leave. I was about to get off. But Patrice X just made a great point. First of all, brother Patrice X, I gotta give a shout out to you because you reminded me of exactly what happened. So I was not on my brother Drew's channel. I did go off. Sometimes I forget when I go
No,
off.
you had that part right. You did go
Yeah,
off. That's for sure.
I did go off on Drew's channel, but I went off on 78's channel as well. And I was talking to the brother Prosper. But Patrice X said something at the end of the conversation, and I had already left. So now that I'm here, I can go over it. Patrice X said, don't get it twisted. We want you to know, though, brother, if we were anywhere, and because you are a black man, you were attacked, we would be right there defending you, and we wouldn't ask no questions. Now, let me go on that for a second. One thing about Coach and those who really know me, I don't care what disagreement you and I having. Ain't nobody jumping on you because you a brother, and I don't get down right there with you. I ain't asking no questions. Okay, I see a brother in trouble, I'm right there with you. It ain't going down like that. And a lot of times, these agents of chaos that come into the chats who try to talk about two brothers that's having a conversations. First of all, that's my brother. This ain't got nothing to do with you. And 9 times out of 10, especially these accounts that they ain't got their face or nothing like that. On top of that, check this out. They not gonna be the ones to jump into nothing. They gonna stand right there and pull their phone out. See, it's a difference. It's two types of brothers walking the streets right now. You got the brother that's gonna turn his phone on and record for views, and then you got other brothers that's gonna help you right then and there. Right then and there. See, that's the difference. We have to understand that we gotta be able to have a disagreement and still understand, man, that's a black man talking to you right now. We don't need to fall out to the point where you feel like you see a brother getting jumped on and now we're joining the lynch mob, which is why I would get so upset when I saw people from our own community dragging Devin Haney when these boxing racists were dragging Devin Haney as elder black men, because Devin is a youth to me. As an older black man, when I see that, especially when it comes to the youth, I'm not having it. I'm not joining in on the lynch mob. So like Patrice X said, don't get it twisted. We can have disagreements, but I'm not going to stand there and let nothing happen to you, because you are a brother. The same way anybody else from another tribe is not going to let their people get jumped on. We have to wake up. Straight up, we have to wake up. So I appreciate you, brother, for reminding me of that. My brother and I should be able to have a conversation and we work it out. I don't need your help, and he don't need your help. When example, sometimes I like when my brother Drew does this. When someone's talking to Drew on my brother Drew Titan's channel, and they're having a disagreement, you know what Drew would say sometimes? Drew would say, everybody on the panel be quiet. Me and this person got to have a conversation. Champs I do the same thing. What Champs I do? He say, everybody on the panel be quiet. I got this. And we all shut up and we let them two have their battle of the minds. See, some people are so fragile that when two people are getting their ideas off, right, the steel is being sharpened. It's going to make you sharper as a brother, me sharper as a brother. Perfect example, the same way Patrice X just bought something up and a light bulb popped on in my head. That's how the steel sharpens steel. But see, some of us get offended, or we feel like this person intellectually is superior to me, so I'm going to hate on them. Everybody can teach you something if you're humble enough to learn. If you're humble enough to learn. So I would love to leave off on that note. Bill Haney is now the A side of his own destiny with Devin Haney. And I just want them, remember we talked about early, Devin taking the villain route. Whether they're the villain or not, I just hope that brother knows that we see him. I hope that all of our champions know, which is why we have to be louder. Our champions need to know that we have their back, and we know that no matter what they do, they're going to be criticized. They're going to be called runners. There are people, after the ass whooping Crawford gave Canelo, there were people trying to say that Crawford was running. I've seen it on Facebook. I've seen it on TikTok, and I already know what kind of people they are. So no matter what some of you do, you're never going to be accepted by some of these folks, and you have to be okay with that, because that is part of your superpower. As a black man, you need to understand that one of your superpowers is to be able to be great in the faces of others that don't like you, and it don't bother you that they don't like you. Once you get that down packed, you will be unstoppable. And then, because see, I think right now, if Devin tries to play the villain, I think he'll get to him. You know, I think
Mm,
he'll try to example. I feel that when he fought against Ryan, he didn't fight his fight because it was getting to him.
right.
The things that was being said. But man, once that mind matures just a little bit and he can play them games, y'all in trouble. I promise you. But shout out to everybody, man, that came through. Queen Tay Tay, Jose Diaz says, even in the Latin channel, the ones that I trust, they said Terrence didn't run. Terrence took Canelo to school. Now, you know, family, y'all know what that's about. Y'all know what that's about. But man, I got to give a shout out to everybody that came. This is our first live where I had people call in. I'm still figuring out editing the lives where I can do the, the pictures through StreamYard and things like that. But man, we did our thing today. I got to give a shout out to everyone that supported me today, supported the channel. And man, peace to y'all. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Patrice X, salute to you, brother. And that's it, y'all. We're gonna land the plane there. So peace to the chat, peace to the family, and it's always smoke to the COINTELPRO boxing fan. Peace.
Take care. Peace.